Yeah. This was a fun one to get through. Gather around, fellow nerds. Let's discuss Demon's Souls to the PlayStation 3. Because pain is fun. Okay, even if you never actually played any of the titles in the series, if you're a gamer, you're probably at least familiar with the Soulsborne franchise. Technically actually only Souls, but a lot of us count Bloodborne as part of the series anyways, so Soulsborne's weird name, but it works. With the most recent release in the series being 2016's Dark Souls 3, and the one that kind of got everyone's attention being 2011's Dark Souls, a lot of people tend to think that it's the one that started everything, but no. It started back in the PlayStation 3 in 2009 with Demon's Souls. Okay, but what's this game actually about, besides the infamous difficulty that it's known for? The kingdom of Boletaria is being engulfed by this mysterious black fog, which is a result of this corrupt king of the land kind of awakening this ancient demon that's hungry for the souls of everyone and everything. This fog, after filling up the kingdom, has slowly started creeping beyond its borders and is now a serious threat to the neighboring lands, prompting a bunch of both unknown and famous warriors to go into the fog and try and save the day. Unfortunately, none of them have returned, so naturally your character thinks it's a bright idea to do the exact same thing. And honestly, that's about all the game gives you in the opening cutscene as far as the plot is concerned. Yeah, you do find out some more things from the various NPC conversations and item descriptions in your inventory, sure. But it's very much a low story kind of game. You more get immersed in the thing and you piece the story together by yourself. It's not really obvious with its plot. Which personally, I'm okay with. If you don't care about the plot and you just want to go out and kill demons, go for it. You're gonna have a great time. Or getting your butt kicked. Mostly the latter. Now going by today's standards, yeah, Demon's Souls is starting to look a bit aged. Even though in 2009, it did look pretty good. And today there are still some areas which I thought looked damn good. There's a little bit of frame rate stutter here and there. Part of that is probably because I was playing online for the good first half of my playthrough, and unfortunately at the end of this month the Demon's Souls servers are being shut down, meaning no more of the cool invading other players' worlds and summoning them for help. That probably has something to do with it, since once I switched to playing offline mode, a lot of this frame stuttering seemed to go away. Oh, there's also this one pretty funny glitch I came across, which, I mean, just look at it. Nothing says epic adventure like falling continuously! I found Demon Souls tended to look best when it was in its darker, less well-lit areas. Places like the Fool's Idol Archstone or whatnot. Since there wasn't as much light in the area, you weren't really able to see the kind of semi-there textures and detail in a lot of the environments. Enemy designs, though, are spot on. Even the easier bosses in the game, each one looks unique and has a sort of its own visual style to it. Whether it be the Sky King, or the Flame Lurker, or those fucking man-eaters. Each one is designed in a way to be visually striking and easily identifiable even from just a quick glance. In my opinion though, the strongest aspect of Demon Souls isn't in the graphical department or even the gameplay. It's gotta be the sound design and overall mood that the game just hits you with constantly. Yes, Dark Souls is the one that's generally known to be the really depressing and hopeless feeling game, but Demon Souls is the one that started everything. And a lot of that goes from the fact that there's not much music throughout the whole thing. And when there is, it's usually more kind of ambient sounds or the really out there boss music that really pumps you up for the big fight. This helps to create a mood in which you definitely feel the odds are stacked against you. And since your character in the game is the latest in who knows how many other brave warriors have attempted to go into this fog and die, you don't really feel like you have that much of a chance. And it definitely does a good job of making this constantly weigh in your mind when you come across fallen bodies of previous warriors before you, the few NPCs that you talk to who have gone through catastrophes trying to make it to where they are now, and even how a few of the NPCs will actually die. One of them pretty sure commits suicide about halfway through the game, and you start to feel like even the few characters you're getting to know aren't safe from being killed off. Unless, of course, you're just a dick like me and you kill them off yourself.
I shall lull the old one back to slumber.
Alright, but enough about the things that don't really matter. You probably want to know, is Demon Souls as difficult as the games that came after it? Sadly, not really, no. It does definitely have its difficult parts, but overall, Demon Souls is the easiest game of the entire series. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as it was From Software's first real go at designing this sort of game. And where do I think it kind of falls apart here? Well, it's definitely not the level design, as each level is a good mix of linear corridors and sort of more the open-ended, sprawling labyrinths that you have to weave your way around and solve minor puzzles to help you get farther into the level. It's a good mix of both kinds. Now, these levels aren't really interconnected or anything. You have this hub world called the Nexus, which is kind of your safe area where you can go to level up your character after boss fights using the souls, which are your XP in this game, improve your armor, and then you can also go to the new worlds once you unlock them.
You came for demon... We're welcome here.
The coolest part is that there's no specific order you really have to take in order to beat the game. If you want, you can go for the hardest boss right away at the very beginning and just hope that you're good enough to take them on. I didn't do that though. I went the wussy way and I followed a semi-recommended walkthrough on how to take on the bosses. Besides leveling up your character to increase their health, their stamina, or their item burden, how much crap they can carry before they start slowing down and fat rolling, there's also the one RPG mechanic I hate: item durability. The weapons in this game break really quickly. Or maybe I was just using the ones that tended to break really fast, or I wasn't using them correctly. I don't know, but item durability in games, especially a hack and slasher one like this, where you need your weapons to stay with you, and your armor too, in order to have even a decent chance of surviving the boss encounters or those basic enemies, it's annoying when they constantly break, or when you're having to switch from your favorite weapon to one of the weaker ones you just have to carry around with you as a backup. Not a fan. Speaking of weapons in this game though, my preferred one for this review was my Dragon Longsword. This badass sword that every time you hit someone, it did fire damage along with basic slashing damage. And no, this isn't a fire sword, but I don't have one. And all that stuff is really cool, but the main reason why people would end up playing this series after Demon's Souls came out were the boss fights. That's kind of where this game falls apart. A lot of them are pretty easy, some of them hilariously so, and they are kind of some of the easiest bosses in all 5 games. Doesn't mean there aren't a handful of difficult ones, no. I plan on making a whole separate video about those difficult bosses who completely kicked my ass. But on the whole, a lot of them just kind of felt like they weren't aggressive enough, or they were more focused on being a puzzle boss instead of an actual combat one, or maybe I just over-leveled way too much and my damage output was so high their health bars just went away really quickly. One of the bosses though actually has a really cool mechanic. He's called the Old Monk, and when you go to fight him, he summons a red phantom. Now when you're connected to online play in this game, that red phantom may likely actually be another player who's invading your world if they set down their summon sign in front of that boss door. Unfortunately, since these servers are going out, I got stuck with the super easy NPC Red Phantom, which made the boss fight a complete joke. So overall, how do I feel about this game with everything taken into consideration? I'm going to ultimately give Demon's Souls a 9 out of 10. Yes, it has flaws, which I pointed out, but they're more than made up for with the bosses that are actually difficult. The prevalent, depressing, and hopeless mood, which is very meticulously crafted, from the graphical design, to the music, to the voice acting, which even though it isn't all that good sometimes, it's minimalistic enough in its approach that aids the atmosphere that the game is trying to go for. And just to make sure I kind of hit everything here, the user interface menus aren't cluttered, they make sense. The control scheme is good, it works, every button does what you think it should. It's not confusing or hard to learn. Even though curiously there's no jump button, but there is a sort of automatically pull yourself up on a small ledge feature, which future games don't have, but then they included a jump button. I don't know, it's first game of the series syndrome. You can kind of tell. Still, these little things are just dwarfed by everything else the game does right. And Demon's Souls is easily that 9 out of 10 I said.